setting new standards in podcast excellence. You have joined the WBT, fully focused on business and taxes. Here is your host, Michael Lodge.
Welcome to the WBT. This is Michael Lodge. Thank you for joining me. I'm recording my podcast at a little bit later hour in the evening because I wanted to come into my studio and just kind of talk out of my heart and my thought process. Our conversation tonight is going to be Kanye West and God. Really? I'll be right back.
This is brought to you by Lodge & Co., a business and tax advisory firm where your success is our goal. Call us today toll-free at 888-681-1518 or visit us at www.lodge-co.com and learn more about what we can do for you. Lodge & Co., your source for sound business and tax services.
I caught the interview on the late night show with Kanye West, and I saw a totally different person from what I've seen before. An individual who had confidence, an individual who was at peace with himself. Now, I'm going to be very honest with you. When I first saw Kanye West, and I've been following his career, I thought he was a real jerk. Yeah, as a Christian, I made a judgment call on him, and I said he was a real jerk. We saw so many antics of his. We saw him drinking very heavily. We saw him carousing, and we saw all this rap that was really kind of down and dirty. He was an individual who had gone so far, made tons of money. If you want to talk about business, because I do a business podcast, I will say that he's probably a very good businessman. He did lose some money. He lost a lot of money. But there's a message behind that losing of the money, because it was something that he needed to experience. I'm telling you, when I saw Kanye West, I thought he was a real jerk in his career. But then in this interview where he sat down on the plane and was talking to the interviewer, I was really impressed. I saw an individual who looked truly in his eyes and in his speech mannerisms, his body language, that he was at peace and God had touched his life. Now, I know that you guys are probably out there thinking, gosh, this is a business podcast. What in the world is he talking about God? Because I'll tell you the reason. Because I believe in God and I believe in spirituality. And I believe that part of our life we have to have a very deep spirituality to make the right decisions between good and bad. So what I saw was a man in Kanye that had changed. Now, I like change. I really do like change when it's for the better. Now, there are going to be people, and they're already stated, because if you look at the press out there in Hollywood and everybody else, you know, they're putting him down. Is it true? Is he really, really focused on God? That's not for us to judge. That is the relationship between he and his Maker, he and his God. His spiritual life, his spiritual walk. Now, a few years back, I was representing a high-profile boxer. And he was good. He was number one. He was top of the heap. And he was a carouser. He's a woman's person. I remember standing in the living room, and we could hear the bed going clumpity clump upstairs. Knowing that his wife was just about ready to come in, we could hear that. We knew what was going on. Drinking heavily, partying, gambling. He was doing it all. But then all of a sudden something clicked. And he said that he had found God, and he began leading Bible studies. And he's still doing it to this day. Bible studies and preaching and leading other people to God. Now, here was another person that everybody said, no, he's not. If you were to hang around with the crew that followed him from place to place, they all said it was all fake. But that was several years ago, and he's still practicing what he preaches, because he's still preaching. He's still holding those Bible studies at his house. You see, when something changes in a person's life, it's really easy for other people to judge, because they've seen the life that he has led before. Seen the Ferraris and seen the jewelry and seen the women and seen the song, and it goes on and on. But when God touches a person and the heart changes and the mind changes, life changes at that moment. It's like a light switch going off and then on. And that's what happens to people when they have had this life where they could see that pretty much they were failing. And then they got a spiritual strength and everything changes. Now, it takes guts to change. Especially if you are in Hollywood or if you're in top of the sports world and you change your lifestyle. People talk. And people scorn. And people gossip. But it takes a really strong individual who believes in his spirituality and his relationship with God to make that change and not worry about what other people are going to say, because he knows that his team around him is totally changing. Because now he has a God that's guiding him and protecting him with a host of angels that surround him. Now, in business, each of us, I'm hoping, are trying to do what's good all the time, making those choices between bad and good, ethical and unethical. It's a much easier step to make those changes if you develop this spiritual life within yourself. And you have consistency in the way that you believe every single day. And you accept the guidance of a more powerful God than ever before. So, those of you who want to gossip and talk about Kanye West and his change, think about it just a little bit. Because if you're going to point fingers, if you're going to gossip, maybe it's time for a change in your life. Gosh, I remember back when my client was going through this change, and everybody, even the media, the press, were all after him. Even myself, I had doubts too. But I didn't say anything about his spiritual beliefs because I believe that people can change. And I saw him change. I saw him turn his life totally around. Focusing on his family, focusing on his wife, focusing on his God. Now, he still makes mistakes from time to time. He's a human being just like you and me. Kanye's going to trip a little bit because he's human also. But he knows that his God will accept him will take him and will guide him. So I say Kanye West changing, good. Kanye West and God, good. Anybody who makes a change spiritually is choosing a better path to follow. Now, you have to remain consistent in how you believe and how you talk. If you stray from that, people will judge very heavily. But if you stay on the right path, and you keep moving along, keep walking along, keep getting closer and closer to your spiritual needs and your God, you will make it through. Listen, I have been through some really tough spots. I have been through some crisis. And I did not know how I was going to make it through. But I knew if I just said, God help me, it happened. He got me through it. Made me stronger at the end. Picked me up and set me other ways. Before, I probably would never have come on my podcast and talk like I'm talking to you now. And people always ask me, what in the world do you mix business and spirituality and God together? Because it fits very well. It fits because it helps me make the right choices. Helps me to remain steadfast in the direction that I need to go. So as I was watching The Late Show, I really did see a man that totally looked different than what I have seen him in the past. He spoke very, very eloquently. He spoke from the heart. You could see that his eyes were really looking at the individual asking the questions, and he was really thinking about his response. So I say, welcome to the family, Kanye West. Welcome to the path that God has set for you. Keep reading your book, the Bible. Keep studying. Keep praying. Keep having faith. Don't pay attention to the people who are going to put you down. Keep moving forward. Faith is built by doing and by talking to God. And where He leads you, you go. I love the phrase that when people say, you know what, I'm a vessel of God. Which means that God is pointing you in the direction that you need to go, and you need to listen and pay attention to where He wants of you. So, Kanye West, keep doing it. Keep believing. I didn't like you before, but I like you a whole lot better now. If any of you have any questions or comments, send me a text at 818-252-5682, 818-252-5682, and we'll talk. I'll answer your questions. Everybody go out and have a great time, whatever time of the day that you're listening to this. But remember, if you walk each day in a spiritual life, you will have success. I'll talk with you soon.
through Christ who gives me strength. But sometimes I wonder what he can do through me. No great success to show, no glories of my own, yet in my weakness he's there to let me know.
His strength is perfect when our strength is gone. He'll carry us when we can't carry on. Raised in his power, the weak become strong. His strength is perfect. His strength is perfect. We can only know the power that he holds when we truly see how deep our weakness goes. His strength in us begins when ours comes to an end. He hears our humble cry and proves again. His strength is perfect when our strength is gone. He'll carry us when we can't carry on. Raised in his power, the weak become strong. His strength is perfect. His strength is perfect when our strength is gone. He'll carry us when we can't carry on. Raised in his power, the weak become strong.
His strength is perfect. Ooh.
His strength is perfect.
This podcast is produced by Michael Lodge, fully focused on content.